Chantney and the Magical Door. In a quiet little village nestled between rolling green hills, a girl named Chantney lived with her grandmother. Chantney was unlike other children in the village. She was always curious, always searching for something beyond the ordinary. While others played in the fields, she would explore the whispering woods, wondering what secrets the trees held. Her grandmother often told her stories about hidden worlds and mystical doors that led to places beyond imagination. One day, if your heart is pure and your mind is brave, you might find such a door, her grandmother had once said with a knowing smile. Chantney never truly believed in those tales until a night she found the glowing door, the night of the discovery. It was a full moon night, and the world outside shimmered in silver light. Chantney had trouble sleeping, so she decided to take a quiet walk in the forest. As she stepped past the familiar trees, she suddenly noticed something she had never seen before. A tall, ancient door, standing alone between the trees. Its surface was carved with strange symbols, and a soft blue glow pulsed from its edges. Curious, Chantney reached out and touched the door. The moment her fingers brushed the cool surface, the symbols lit up, and a gentle wind whispered through the trees as if the forest itself was holding its breath. With a creaking sound, the door swung open. Inside, there was no room or passage, just a shimmering light, almost like a silver mist. Before she could think, a soft voice called her name. Chantney, step forward. With a deep breath, she stepped inside. A new world. As soon as she crossed the threshold, Chantney felt as though she were floating. The air around her shimmered, and suddenly she found herself in a completely different world. The sky above was a deep purple with twinkling stars, much brighter than those in her village. The trees were golden, their leaves humming a soft melody. A river nearby glowed with silver light, flowing gently through the land. Strange yet beautiful creatures moved about, birds with shimmering wings, deer with antlers that sparkled like diamonds, and tiny glowing fairies darting between the flowers. Chantney stood in wonder. "Is this a dream?" she whispered to herself. Before she could take another step, a shadow passed overhead. The stars flickered, and a cold breeze sent shivers down her spine. Then the voice came again, this time closer. "Chantney, we have been waiting for you." She turned around and saw an old wizard standing beneath a twisted silver tree. His robes were deep blue, covered in swirling golden patterns, and his eyes shone like the moon itself. The task. The wizard's name was Eldrin, and he explained that this world, called Lunaria, was once filled with eternal light, but now it was under threat. "A dark force has awakened," he said gravely. "The Shadow King seeks to steal the light from our world. If he succeeds, darkness will consume everything, And not just here. Your world will be affected too. Chandni's heart pounded. But what can I do? Eldrin smiled. You were chosen because your heart is pure and your courage is strong. You are the only one who can retrieve the orb of light, which was stolen and hidden in the Shadow King's fortress. Without it, this world will fade. Chantney gulped. The idea of facing a shadowy king sounded terrifying, but when she looked around at the beautiful world that was slowly growing dimmer, she knew she had to try. I'll do it, she said firmly. The journey began. Eldrin handed her a silver compass that would guide her toward the Shadow King's fortress. As soon as she took it, the needle glowed and pointed toward the mountains, where dark clouds swirled ominously. Chandni set off on her journey, crossing forests of whispering trees, rivers of glowing mist, and bridges made of stardust. Along the way, she met 3 companions, a talking fox named Vireo, a winged cat named Lyra, and a tiny fire sprite named Ember. Each of them had their own abilities, and they promised to help Chandni on her quest. The Fortress of Shadows. After days of traveling, they finally reached the Shadow Fortress, a towering castle made of black stone, surrounded by swirling mist. The entrance was guarded by shadow creatures, twisted, dark figures with glowing red eyes. With the help of her friends, Chandni sneaked past them, using Lyra's ability to fly over walls and Ember's fire to distract the creatures. Deep inside the fortress, they found the orb of light, but the moment Chandni reached for it, a deep voice echoed through the hall. You dare steal from me? A tall figure emerged from the shadows, the Shadow King himself. He was draped in a black cloak, his face hidden except for his piercing silver eyes. Darkness swirled around him like smoke. You cannot stop the darkness, he hissed. It will always return, period. Chandni's heart pounded, but she stood her ground. Maybe the darkness will return, she said, but so will the light. Summoning all her courage, she held up the silver compass. It began to shine brightly, filling the room with pure white light. The Shadow King let out a roar as the light pushed him back, his dark form melting away. Chandni grabbed the orb of light, and suddenly the entire fortress began to crumble. She and her friends raced out just in time as the structure collapsed into dust. The return home. As soon as she placed the orb of light back in its rightful place, Lunaria's sky filled with a warm golden glow. The rivers sparkled, the trees hummed happily, and the stars shone brighter than ever. Eldrin appeared before Chandni. You have saved Lunaria, he said with a proud smile. You are a true hero. Chandni felt a warmth in her heart. She had always wanted to discover something magical, and now she had not only found it, but also protected it. The wizard raised his staff, and a familiar glowing door appeared before her. "It is time for you to return home," he said gently. Chandni took one last look at the beautiful world before stepping through the door. A new beginning. She woke up in her bed, the morning sun streaming through the window. Had it all been a dream? She reached into her pocket and found the silver compass, a reminder that what had happened was real. From that day on, Chandni knew that adventure could be waiting just beyond an ordinary door, and she would always be ready to find it.